What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Glad to see everybody here. So this time it looks like we're up. All right, we are here at the right time this time. So I hope you guys are ready to get this event going. This is going to be good. Let's go. Don't forget, guys, like up the stream if you don't mind. If you haven't already, click that button. Let's see how many people we can get on our stream, because there will be multiple people streaming this content, but we're one of the few channels that will be properly analyzing it and talking about what to expect. So as you can see, we went right up to the price target that I actually set. I don't even know when was that, yesterday. 21 cents by the event. There we go. And we hit 214. Now, here's the thing, guys. This can go in either direction. Now, there's nothing wrong if you, let me just say this in advance. If you bought in early, there is nothing wrong with looking for a potential sell anytime soon and then a rebuy in. Why do I say that? Everyone knows how buy the rumor, sell the news goes, right? And so people are going to be coming into that with that same mentality. So that means you are going to see some people taking profit, expecting a potential dump, and there could be a bit of a sell-off as we get into the event here, as people kind of fulfill that. That does not mean, though, that as the event starts and good things start to happen, and people start saying positive things during the event, that there will not be another run. So sell at your own risk, I would say, but also keep in mind that if this event, yes, we will be watching this live, Moon 2. It is right here, and it starts in about 10 minutes, so hang around. So the thing is, keep in mind, if you decide to take that risk and sell, because there's a risk whether you stay in or you sell. If you decide to take the risk of selling now to avoid a potential dump, you could also miss part of a potential rally, right? Because if it happens, it could be unexpected, could be in a quick burst. So count your risks and decide which one you want to take. If you were in from like 14, 15, 16 cents and you're scalping like a 7 cent move right here, maybe you want to lock that profit in. If you just got in at like 19, obviously you'd probably want to give it a little chance to move because there's nothing to lock in, right? You just bought. So, but as you can see, we did hit a high of 21. As we're getting close now, people have been locking in profit. Don't let this scare you, though, because what you have to keep in mind, the reason people are locking in profit is not only because the event and they're thinking selling the news, but because we have not seen very much volatility in Dogecoin over the last, I don't know how long. I mean, look at this. This is from June 24th. This is 1 month ago. We've been in a downtrend. This is the last relatively decent uptrend that we saw to make money off of right here. After that, we've been in a downtrend. In 3 days, it'll be 1 month to now. People, I mean, they want to lock this in, all right? People have not been making profit off Dogecoin for the last month, for the most part. So people are locking in what they haven't had a chance at before. That does not mean that it's going to sell off straight down to 17, 16 cents right now, all right? It's just people cashing out. And they can do that by all means. Yeah, exactly, Dr. Dre. If you got in at 16 and you want to lock in that 4 cent gain, if you had a lot of shares, by all means, do you. This is an unbiased stream, whether you're a hodler, diamond hander, or you're a trader or scalper, it doesn't matter. Our goal here on this channel is always to be profitable and make money. All right, here we go. Let's make sure volume is up. All right, so here's the countdown we've got here, guys. Let's make sure we're on relatively high quality, as long as it doesn't mess with anything. Cool. Hope you guys are ready for this. It's unfortunate that the last stream we did turned out to be not the one, but hopefully we'll get some of these people back. We already have about 100 people in here, so hope everybody's having a good day so far. You're holding till $1 either way, but obviously hoping we go up. Exactly. I respect that. Chosen One says, let me read some comments here. At work, but we'll be listening. Cool. Awesome. Hey, good morning again, Lori. 29, the end of my prime years. Hey, I'm right behind you, bro. Very close behind you. But hopefully the beginning of a big bank account. Right. Hey, when you get the big bank account, to some people, that's your prime years. It's not over. Yes, it's time. Hey. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sadu. Count Billions, what's going on? Get ready for another SNL. Sell the news. Definitely be prepared. Be prepared. We don't know. Like I said in the last stream today, and like I said yesterday, two things can happen here. We could see, and this is exactly. Why do I hear like my stream duplicating? Hang on. Oh, it's this music. That was confusing. Here's what you can expect from price action during an event like this. We talked about this on Friday. What's today? Wednesday? We talked about this on Monday. What you'd expect is a pre-event run-up, as everyone anticipates. Woo, everyone's anticipating. Ooh, Bitcoin news. Ooh, this could be exciting. What if Elon says something crazy? And plus Bitcoin publicity, this could be great for Dogecoin too. Everyone starts buying in. Then come the event, pre-event, you see a little bit of a buy the rumor, sell the news type sell-off. Here's our pullback. Now we're at this point. Now, as the event gets started, what we should start to expect is people starting to get a little bit excited again. Now that people have locked in some of that profit, we've got some of the bearish people that think we're just going to see a crash. They've started to cash out. Now we should start seeing the price stabilize as the event gets started, and maybe just either sideways trading, depending on how it goes, or maybe just a slight move up, depending on if they get into it and things are looking good. What happens next is going to be based off of the overall sentiment of the people as they're watching the event. Don't forget, everyone was super hyped. Now, on SNL night, the first sell-off was sparked by whales, all right? So keep that in mind. That was not only just a sell the news sell-off in the morning. Whales dumped, and that made all the retail traders, the new traders, panic, and that's why they ended up getting out super early. And then you saw, once we dumped, the price came all the way back up to 70 cents. I don't know if you guys remember that. But the price after it dumped like 20, 25, 30 cents, it came back up to 70, and then whales dumped again. And that's when it really started to sell off. Then during the SNL event is when you really saw the sell the news thing kick in. As disappointment kicked in, people weren't super happy with they thought there was going to be more. The skits were, in some people's opinion, kind of mediocre. That kind of thing. And then after as well is when the sell-off continued, as it was over and it just was kind of underwhelming to some people. I didn't mind it, but that was just the overall opinion. That's when you saw the price really dump. During the event, it was doing okay. So same thing here. During the event, I mean, right now we might see a spike back up to almost near 21 cents. I wouldn't be surprised. But during the event, it's then just going to be what happens, what gets talked about, what does Elon Musk say, and what is his stance. If he, it's starting in 6 minutes here, so we've got the countdown going. If Elon shows signs of positive feeling towards Bitcoin, like, okay, things are looking good, we start saying anything positive about taking Bitcoin as a method of payment for Tesla again, or says anything about the future of Bitcoin positively, that's kind of going back on his denouncement that caused this crash in the first place. So you will likewise see the spike. You'll start to see the price start to go up. Now, depending on how good of news happens today, we could see a reversal for good. Keep in mind, Bitcoin has been down at these levels for 2 months now. Bitcoin has been crashed for 2 months. The bull run ended when Elon Musk did this right here, and China and other things, but mostly Elon. He was responsible for like this part of the move right here. And then China kicked in and did a little more damage and made sure we didn't get back up when we fell. And then ransomware attacks, FBI cracking down on criminal activity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the good catalyst barely moved it. Then this little jump right here, like we talked about in the last stream. How much time we have? 4.5 minutes. We're good. This little move right here, the only little sign of volatility, I'm zoomed in too far. The only sign of volatility that we had during this entire market crash right here was right here. This massive move that we had. As you see, this was the biggest move we had. This was from Elon Musk giving Bitcoin some hope after the crash when he said, if you guys figure out mining doing the overall mining of Bitcoin, if that overall mining hits 50% or more clean energy and it looks like it's going to continue positive, then if it looks like it's going to continue positive, then he'll revert the suspension of accepting Bitcoin as payment. That's when you saw this massive move from 31,000 all the way up to 42. That's just showing you, all right, we got 4 minutes, guys. We're almost there. That's just showing you the power of Elon Musk in his opinion. He crashed it. He can bring it back. So if he says something positive enough, we've already hit a triple bottom here. Here, here, here. This one, and it's almost inverse, not inverse head and shoulders, but if you know the concept of inverse head and shoulders, where you make a low, and then you make a lower low, and then you make the next low at about the same spot as the first one. And that shows you were coming down, and then you crashed harder, but then you regained buying pressure, and then you might see one more pullback up here to test it as support, and then it takes off. We saw a low, a lower low, and then this low was at this low. So it's the same concept of inverse. We did not make, if you look right here, see, 29.2 is where we fell to. Look at these numbers. 29.295, and then 28.805 was the middle one, and this one right here, 29.258, 29.25, 29.25, 28. Same concept. Big reversal here. This dip down, rejection out, as well as making a higher low on the swing. We've been down here also for 2 whole months, and we've had plenty of opportunity for the buyers to load up. This could be a day, 2.5 minutes, guys. And don't forget, guys, we got 150 people in here. Please consider hitting that like button to have this stream shared with other people if you're enjoying it so far. Please consider hitting that button. Thank you so much. But this could be, if he says something good enough, positive enough, it could spark a bull run that gets us back to, who knows, 35, 40,000. And if it's really good news, like a surprise announcement, like, all right, we'll take you guys back, it could start to break out towards 40s, 45, 50. What does that mean for Dogecoin? Dogecoin 25, 30, 35, we could see. All right, so we're just going to keep a close eye on it. At this moment, all right, minute and a half, guys. We are almost there. Hope everybody's got their popcorn. Let me blitz through your comments real quick because the event's about to start, and I don't want to talk too much during the event, though I'll commentate on important things very briefly. Let's go. Elon's live 10 minutes. Yep, 1 minute now. Let's see. What if Elon says he's the creator of Bitcoin, never sell, just hold and buy more? If Elon says something positive, Bitcoin could absolutely rocket. The reason we care about that is because Bitcoin controls Dogecoin. If you're holding Dogecoin, Ethereum, Cardano, ADA, XRP, Polygon, anything that is relatively large market cap that usually just gets moved and manipulated off Bitcoin's market control, this is an event that you want to be tuned into, because if the market moves up due to Bitcoin, Dogecoin's going to follow, Ethereum's going to follow, and we're going to see rallies on our altcoins that we love so much. So that's why we're interested in this. If Bitcoin goes to 40,000, Dogecoin is back up to like 30 cents ish, 25 to 30 cents. Bitcoin goes beyond that, Dogecoin's going to skyrocket. This is a big catalyst, a potential day. Now, it could be an absolute flop, right? That is the other angle. Thank you guys for those 10 likes. I appreciate that. We're at 38 now. But that's what we're watching. It could be either a flop that causes a crash, or it could be the thing that saves crypto and starts a reversal. So that's my angle, guys. It's either going to make us take off, or if it's disappointing, neutral, or underwhelming, and people are like, oh, that actually didn't go so good, Bitcoin could make new lows, and we could see an opportunity to probably get out pretty quick of Doge and everything and buy way down lower, back to mid-teens. So keep an eye on this. All right, let's full screen and let's go. I'll turn the audio up, don't worry. Hang on. I'm turning it up.
Featuring Cathie Wood, Jack Dorsey,
there we go.
Elon Musk, Lynn Alden, Nick Carter, and many.
Let me know if it's too loud or if you need the volume up, down, whatever, guys. I'm streaming this for y'all. Get your popcorn, whatever you need. We're in here. Let's go. Hope y'all are excited like I am.
Welcome everybody to the B Word. I'm Steve Lee, the lead of Square Crypto, and I'm here today to moderate a discussion about Bitcoin that will span from what makes it special to the its relationship with energy, the community ethos, and the future of Bitcoin. I'm
Volume up.
joined by three special guests.
Higher volume. Okay.
First is Kathy
I'll crank
Wood,
it up a little higher. Just turn
founder,
down if you need.
CEO and CIO of ARK Invest.
Hopefully that's not too bad.
Next is Elon Musk, techno king of Tesla and chief engineer of SpaceX. And finally, Jack Dorsey, CEO of Square and
How
CEO
cool
of
is
Twitter.
this?
So we have a lot to talk about today. So let's get to the talk and get right to it. I'm going to start off by asking each of you a question, which is, what's shaped and influenced your views on Bitcoin? And let's start with Kathy.
Okay, Steve, thank you. Well, the first thing was our focus on disruptive innovation. So starting in 2011, Brett Winton, our director of research, who I know will be on the program later, he started talking about this thing called Bitcoin at the time. And it was a curiosity as we were doing our brainstorms in
Let me know if volume's
research.
good.
But as we learned more about this open source ecosystem,
This is live.
that
Yes.
might fulfill the role of the payment system that the internet neglected to build into the system, not expecting commerce. We thought, this might be something. And then I became even more interested when I realized that my economics would come into play as well here. And Art Laffer, my mentor from USC, and a monetary scholar, in 2014, I asked him if he would collaborate on a paper on Bitcoin, and he was a bit of a naysayer at first, and but agreed to read the paper. He read the paper, tore it up, and from an economics point of view, really wanted to understand this, and he said, I think you got something here. This is a rules-based monetary system. I've been waiting for this for my entire career. So the combination of disruptive innovation generally, economics on top of that, and the huge misunderstanding out there as to what this is, that was intriguing and launched our research effort.
Volume's good? Cool.
Thank you. Elon, what's influenced your views on Bitcoin?
Well, I've
keep your eye on the
thought
charts.
about money for quite a while, obviously, since the PayPal days. And then the companies that preceded that, X.com, which I created, and Confinity, which Peter Thiel, Max Levchin, Luke Howry, and others created. We combined the companies and made PayPal. So I've been thinking about money for a long time. And really, I think it's best to think of money as an information system, primarily an information system for labor allocation. For practical purposes, it exists in a series of heterogeneous databases, very different databases in bank mainframes around the world. It moves quite slowly in reality. It may seem to move fast sometimes, and it does with PayPal, which is real time. But the vast majority of the systems out there are batch processing. So the actual reconciliation may take 1 to 5 business days, sometimes longer. And you have the ACH system, which is ancient and still in operation, which is allows transfers effectively like a check would be an ACH transfer, but it's not secure.
When he's done,
and you've got the credit card systems, which are also not secure. It would be like handing your username and password to a stranger in a restaurant if you buy a meal. So there's definitely an opportunity for something that is better from an information theory standpoint. So and there you can think of it like data on a network. I think is the way to view it. What has the most throughput? What has the least error? What drops the fewest packets? Fraud, for example, being a source of error, and government interference in currencies being a source of error. But it's fundamentally an information system. So I think it makes sense to support something that improves the quality of information with which we conduct the economy. And Bitcoin is
I'll be right back.
A candidate for that. It does, I think, some things Well, and it's obviously it's evolving, and there are additional things like Lightning being done on top of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin per se is mostly solving for scarcity, or rather solving for essentially having no throat to choke, decentralized. So there's no one who can be coerced in any way to empty their Bitcoin account. Well, I guess they could technically, but on an individual basis, but the system as a whole cannot. And it has an open ledger, which is also quite good. But transaction volume is low. Transaction cost is high, and usability for the average person is not yet very good. But it has a lot of potential. And I should say that, like, I'm not, and I apologize for taking a long time, but there certainly is a lot to say. In general, I'm a supporter of Bitcoin and the idea of cryptocurrency in general. But as I've said publicly, we do need to watch out for crypto taking, especially Bitcoin, using proof of work to maybe use energy that's maybe a bit too much and not necessarily good for the environment. So, but on balance, I support Bitcoin, and I'm not an investor. The only publicly traded stock I own is Tesla, and the only significant thing I own outside of Tesla is my SpaceX stock that could help create both companies. So, but apart from that, I do own Bitcoin, and Tesla owns Bitcoin, SpaceX owns Bitcoin, and then I do personally own a bit of Ethereum and Dogecoin, of course. So.
Okay, great, thank you. And we'll get into some of those issues in
Ethereum and Dogecoin.
Well. Jack, how about you? What shaped your views of Bitcoin?
Dogecoin's starting to take off here.
The network and the community.
Dogecoin's taking off.
It's deeply principled. It's weird as hell. It's always evolving, and it just reminded me of the internet when I was a kid. And I encountered alt cypherpunks when I was fairly young, and this was a topic of discussion for years. I didn't touch it until 2008 when we started Square. Elon and teams at X and PayPal inspired a lot of what we were trying to do.
That's
kind of bringing more to a physical world, but we encountered this crazy predatory system that was slow, that was obtuse, and I think one of the things that we tried to do, which X and PayPal also tried to do, is build an abstraction layer around this complication and around this predatory nature that the financial industry can tend to be, and make it work for people. But
do you guys mind this if I keep main speaker here and then chart on the left?
You see a chance to replace.
Does that bother anybody? And I'll move it occasionally just to verify they're still there and whatnot. But
the credit card networks were built with very different agendas and a very different time frame, and it's crazy that they still exist, and they have scaled, but they just are not relevant.
He's not saying anything,
today,
so let me talk right now.
Not relevant to the future,
Bitcoin's making a new high here. Bitcoin's taking off.
The entire world.
32,600.
Like Ghana or India.
It's perfectly placed. Okay, sweet.
Interconnection with
Bitcoin is taking off right here.
And Canada.
Oh, you want to see Elon's body language?
So
let me. I can
what
take
really
some of the bottom off.
My thinking and
so we can see Elon in the speaker. How's that?
Like, if the internet gets a chance to get a native currency, what will that be? And to me, it's Bitcoin because of those principles, because of that creation story, because of its resilience, because of the number of tests it's been. But what inspires me the most is just the community driving it. It just reminds me of the early internet. It's the only reason that I have a career, because I learned so much.
All right, he's talking about why he likes Bitcoin. So let's
Bitcoin today.
Address a couple things right now. Preezy said, "I'm here, had to clean. Did I miss anything?" Not really. Elon just basically said.
The next question I'd like to ask you, Jack, is you said before that Bitcoin changes everything.
Wait one sec.
Can you speak more to that?
Well, I just think that
this might be important.
A lot of what we experience in life, when you really get down to the foundation, a lot of our monetary policies,
Doge
a lot of
approaching
our
21 cents again. Ethereum taking
so
off as well.
Distraction and so much cost. And when you get to a system
Ethereum went back
where
up to 2,000
you have the potential for people
and made
to
a new
truly
high,
own
2035.
they can verify it themselves. You don't have to have trust going in. You don't have to trust it at all. You can verify it through source code or whatever your appetite is, and that any particular person can help drive the future of it. And at the same time, it's not controlled by any state. It's not controlled by any bank.
Bitcoin's
it's
still
not by any
going.
corporation.
We might see Bitcoin to like 34.
And
I don't
these
know.
three parties of
my
people
guess
who
was
participate
34,
in the network,
35 if things are
people
going
mine,
okay. So let's see if we
and
can
also the developers
get up to at least,
constantly
you know, 30
debating,
mid 33s.
The correct roadmap and the way forward is a beautiful thing. And I don't know of many other consensus-based models that have existed at that scale for this long with this amount of success. And we're still fairly early. So
another thing to keep in mind, guys, if we get to and we're already kind of getting there, these decent highs,
2 years ago,
if the momentum stalls out at some point, people could start locking in profits, and we might see the price start going down. So don't be afraid. If at some moment you want to cash out, don't be afraid to do it. You don't have to ride the wave down.
Paper fiat cash from her passengers and pay all of her drivers in the same way, because there's no monetary system that she can utilize. There's nothing digital. And Africa as a continent,
don't forget to hit that like button, guys. Let's see if we can
interconnected
like
from a monetary standpoint, but also
as many people in here as possible.
taxed
Thank you.
in that same way. So a lot of the potential that I see, you know, the internet having a native currency helps her build her business in a much faster way. And also, if you consider something like
Selling
Bitcoin
off?
existing before YouTube, before Twitter, before Facebook, a lot of the business models that we have today would not be the same. We would certainly not have the dependency we have upon the advertising business model if Bitcoin existed pre-Twitter. And I think the amount of business models that it enables, the amount of innovation it enables going forward, especially when you can consider the whole internet instead of going country by country by country by country, which you have to whenever you're dealing with finance.
I'm going to be honest real quick. I think
really
Ethereum takes this the best,
and
because no one knew.
I
don't think
that is what I want to see in my lifetime.
Elon was holding Ethereum. He just said that, you know, Tesla's holding Bitcoin. SpaceX is holding Bitcoin, and like he was in a way holding Bitcoin, but then he said, and also like personally, I'm also holding Dogecoin and Ethereum, of course.
It may be the first system
really good news for all of those
humans have created
coins
that humans cannot later change. Kathy, I'm curious, with your background in monetary history and macroeconomics, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think we care about the speaker there.
Well,
so let's just
I'll recount the story about Art Laffer and our going through the paper, and he said, as I said, first rules-based monetary system, global ever. This is a very big idea. Once we had convinced him of the ecosystem itself. Now, this is the role that it's playing, given that the rule is a quantity rule, that 21 million units, is really a store of value role. So there are three roles of money. Store of value, very important. The means of exchange, so for transactions, and the unit of account. Every good priced in terms of whatever the unit is. So store of value is its primary use right now. The others exist. Unit of account, reserve currency of the crypto asset ecosystem, that's being seeded a little bit towards stable coins right now. But the store of value is a very big role, and means of exchange with apps built on top of the Bitcoin blockchain, we think is going to become more of a reality. Right now, high value transactions take place over Bitcoin, and that is a very useful role. So we look at those, and I remember saying to Art, how big could this be? And he said, well, how big is the US monetary base? Well, today it's $8 trillion. $8 trillion. At the time we were talking, it was $4 trillion. So we've gone through another crisis since then. And so the store of value, this idea that purchasing power will go up over time if demand rises relative to supply ultimately fixed at 21 million units. That's a very good thing. Purchasing power going up globally around the world. And this idea that it's a hedge against confiscation of wealth. And that can take place in a myriad of ways. But inflation, and
stalling out on
especially
price a bit, but not dumping.
hyperinflation in emerging markets is the primary way. Talk about destroying purchasing power. So that's a very big idea. And I'll also mention deflation. In some ways, it's a hedge against deflation. I know some people are confused that we at ARC think that we're in a deflationary environment here in the United States. If that is true, the odds of a hyperinflation in the rest of the world, especially in emerging markets, is also true. So, but this deflation, and we learned from 0809, there's counterparty risk associated with deflation. And I think Bitcoin would be a hedge against that eventuality as well. So it's a very big idea.
Right. I suspect among us, there's not a lot of debate about Bitcoin's potential as a store of value. But
thank you,
Jack,
guys.
you referenced earlier.
I'm just trying not to talk too much when there's important discussion. So I'll respond once things get like dull.
More to that, and also how it relates to maybe how institutions think about it.
Yeah, I mean, like just simple example. If
Elon looks
I
like
happen to
he'd
be in
rather not
Ghana
be
and my
alive
family's in Nigeria.
than be in this
Currently,
conference.
I can take anywhere from, and I need to send money back, anywhere from 10 to 30% off the top just to send that money back. Whereas if you just focus on the worldwide remittance problem, Bitcoin solves so many of those problems today instantly without having to go through any intermediaries or any slowness or complicated systems.
We'll take
a corporation
a brief
or state
second to talk here, because when he says stuff, it's not particularly important. I've noticed.
Having sound money that is separate from the state is the idea. Having
he's just talking about crypto, right? We already know what the concept is.
Including the state, including
price on ETH right here stalled out. It's not dumping though, guys. That is good news. It's not dumping yet, but do keep an eye on the chart.
And strong. And
Ragav, what's going on? Yeah, I remember you, man. I've seen your name before. Welcome back.
More of that, which is why this one of the reasons why
Bitcoin
this
is selling off harder than
important
ETH. Like I said, ETH would take it the best because that was new news for them.
It's not just
Bitcoin still 34.5
and holding on to an asset and treating it as an investment. There's something special that created this, and something precious and something very unique.
Doge
which
20
has to be protected, and we need to do whatever we can to help that thrive as well.
Keep in mind, if Doge goes probably to 19 cents, people will start selling.
Earlier,
that could be the spark of a real sell-off. So
the importance
probably
of throughput,
make like 19 your stop
Bitcoin,
loss under 20.
Can you speak? Do you think
Elon.
Bitcoin can become peer-to-peer cash?
Listen.
Well, Bitcoin does have a fundamental scarcity limit at the base layer that's designed in. That doesn't mean you can't have some layer 2 system in theory like Lightning. And I understand Lightning is doing well in some small countries. There's some question mark as to whether you need a money transmitter license. Just a debate as to whether that's needed, given that it is not open ledger. So that's a whole separate debate, of course. But Bitcoin by itself simply cannot scale to be the monetary system for the world at base layer. But with a second layer, this is possible depending upon how that second layer is implemented.
Might start to see a sell-off soon.
And yeah, that's part of why I think there may be some merit to something that may seem silly, like Ethereum, like Dogecoin. I think Ethereum also, like I said, the three things I own outside of SpaceX and Tesla, and obviously it's a Neuralink and Boring Company, but of any significance are Bitcoin by far, and then some
Bitcoin
Ethereum
by
and some
far.
Doge. So if the price of Bitcoin goes
That's
down,
huge. Price is going to spike. It's got to there, I think.
I lose money. I'm not sort of, I might pump, but I don't dump. So it's not a case of I definitely do not believe in in getting the price high and selling or anything like that. And I would like to see Bitcoin
so
succeed.
many good things just said. Sorry guys, I'll shut up.
I think there's some merit to this is not a slam on Bitcoin. There's some merit to considering something that has a higher max transaction rate and a lower transaction cost, and kind of seeing how far you could take a single layer network where the exchanges act as a de facto second layer. I think you can probably take that further than people realize, and as bandwidth increases over time, latency decreases. SpaceX's Starlink is actually playing a role in this, and I think long term people will probably have access to worldwide access to gigabit level connectivity at low latency, and so at low cost. And so then your base layer could do a lot of transactions if you take that into account. So yeah, but like I said, Bitcoin with a layer 2 system certainly could scale to do a vast number of transactions. Same goes for Ethereum.
Question about the scaling at the layer 1. The concern
this is where it starts getting
the
interesting.
past 5 years of debate in the Bitcoin community is that would sacrifice too much decentralization and hurt the censorship-resistant properties of Bitcoin. I'm curious if what are your thoughts on that? Are you sensitive to that? And are you concerned about losing some of the special properties of Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency by scaling at layer 1?
Yeah, I mean, these things it's helpful to use the physics tools of thinking and say, scale up, scale down, and see if it still makes sense. So if scaling up the transaction block doesn't make sense, why don't you scale it down? And have it be, so that somebody, with a laptop from 2008 can still run a Bitcoin node. Why not slow it down? Oh, you want to slow it down? Well, maybe you're at the wrong number then.
there's actually there's members in the community that do want to slow it down, but I understand your point.
It's silly. The reality is the average person is not going to run a Bitcoin node. So this is and Bitcoin. It was a lot of clever ideas, but
losing a bit of momentum,
were
guys.
set,
Consider
in 2008.
Don't be afraid to lock in.
Maybe 2009. And there's been some improvements since then, but not a lot. So
ETH doing the best by far, though.
It's sort of there was still in 2008 there was still a non-trivial number of people on modems. So now it is quite common to get 100 megabit connection just for a house. Some houses have gigabit connections. So, and that trend is obviously in the direction of higher bandwidth and lower latency. And if somebody else doesn't do it, Starlink certainly will. So I have high confidence that you will be able to maintain a decentralized finance system while still having a much bigger blockchain, aka ASCII text ledger, a hash ledger. You can make the hash ledger bigger without suffering from decentralization as the average connectivity improves, obviously.
One idea would be to put a Bitcoin full node in Starlink terminals. That way more people would be running.
Actually, I have run this by the team at one point. I had this idea, which is kind of off the wall, but let's say you need a little space heater. And normally your space heater would just be pure entropy. But what if that space heater was also a Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge mining node? Pick your currency. And so then you'd be heated up, and you would also mine your crypto and have connectivity in one.
Thank you guys for your subs.
Yeah, I mean, better than running a space heater.
I see all of them, guys. I just obviously can't talk too much.
Are there any other...
Thank you all. Thank you.
so you're drawn to Dogecoin a little bit. Are there any other gaps in Bitcoin that you see that cause you to be drawn towards Dogecoin?
Oh, I think, I mean, I think there's
key moment.
Doge has the Doge community, I think, is somewhat irreverent, obviously, and has great memes and loves dogs, and I love dogs and memes, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think there's Occam's razor, which is the simplest answer is the most likely. It's a summary of Occam's razor. The simplest answer is the most likely one. Then there's a friend of mine came up with a variant on that the most ironic outcome is the most likely one. And then I have a variant on that, which is the most entertaining outcome is the most likely one. So if that is true, then the most ironic and entertaining outcome would be that the cryptocurrency that was started as a joke to make fun of cryptocurrencies ends up being the leading cryptocurrency. That would be the most ironic outcome.
Jack, what are your thoughts on that? Is Bitcoin resilient enough to overcome that?
I think it's resilient, but also I think like you find, I mean, that's what attracts me to Bitcoin in the first place is the irreverence. A lot of that just brings it forward and
price action is at first people are so undecided on what to do here. It's funny.
Inaccessible, but as people get into it, it makes it more accessible and more spreadable. And I think
Bitcoin is not.
I absolutely think the resilience is there. I think it's important to have fun as well. And anyway, folks can express themselves. I think that goes back to the main idea of like how do we create a native currency for the internet? Anything that goes towards that path. Like that's whatever wackiness or fun we can have along the way. That's going to make it a lot more enjoyable, and it's going to make a lot more people want to use it.
I'd also point out there's nothing stopping someone from creating a Bitcoin wallet that's like fun and has memes, has dogs. That's possible as well. Great. Let's move on.
Right now at this point.
Let's move on to the next topic, which is Bitcoin and energy. It's a really hot topic that lots of people are talking about. Let's start with Elon. You've been vocal on this. You've said that. You said many things about it. You've also said that Tesla will resume payments in Bitcoin payments if
in either
the
direction.
Renewable energy is approximately 50% and sort of looks like it's on a positive future trend. What do you think the state of things are with respect to that?
Yeah, so I do think that there appears to be a positive trend in the energy usage of Bitcoin. Actually, part of this is due to the drop in Bitcoin price. What I observed, or what I thought I was seeing, there may be some disagreements on this, but from when Tesla announced that it had acquired Bitcoin and was doing Bitcoin transactions, there was a massive run-up in the Bitcoin price. And also a massive increase in the amount of energy used to mine Bitcoin. And I think I understand renewable energy quite a bit. I mean, Tesla does solar and interacts with a lot of wind generation through our mega pack because basically need to store energy from wind and from solar. So we're pretty plugged into the renewable energy industry. And there's just no way that you could basically double or triple the amount of energy in such a short period of time with renewables. You could shovel coal that fast. And so I was like, look, this is too sketchy. Tesla's mission is accelerating the advent of sustainable energy.
All right, guys, just in case, I'll let you know, I went ahead and locked that.
And also not do appropriate diligence on the energy usage.
I did sell.
Bitcoin. So all I did was I said, look, we're going to suspend Bitcoin transactions for now. We're not selling any Bitcoin, nor am I selling anything personally, or nor is SpaceX selling any Bitcoin. Again, I want to emphasize SpaceX, Tesla, and I own Bitcoin. I also own a little bit of Ethereum and Doge, but the companies just own Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin that I own is worth
just so you know,
much more than the Ethereum or Doge. So clearly, if I'm if these actions negatively affect me financially, if I was purely financially motivated, then I would not express this reticence about Bitcoin energy usage. Now, it looks like Bitcoin is shifting a lot more towards renewables, and a bunch of the heavy-duty coal plants that were being used, unequivocally being used, this is not a question mark, have been shut down, especially in China. So I think it's probably, I want to do a little bit more diligence to confirm that
could see a big run here.
Percentage of renewable energy usage is most likely sort of at or above 50%, and that there is there is a trend towards increasing that number.
Whoa.
And if so, then Tesla will resume Bitcoin, accepting Bitcoin. Yeah. So
could see a massive spike here, guys.
And I think, but most likely the answer is that Tesla would resume accepting Bitcoin. Most likely.
Steve,
wait a minute.
I would agree with that. Kathy?
Yeah, may I ask a question? Elon, I'm not quite sure if you saw the paper that Square and ARK
He just said two conflicting things
on making Bitcoin mining a part of a utility, a broad-based utility ecosystem, whereby, the overage from sunshine or wind powers the Bitcoin mining machine, thereby enabling the proliferation of renewables to a much faster extent, or at a faster rate than otherwise would be the case. What do you think of that?
Got to hear what he says, guys. I don't have an answer quite yet.
Well, the problem is that in order to operate,
I did sell, and if things look good, I'll buy back in. But I locked in my profit, guys.
Operate a bunch of hashing
people
rigs,
are getting bored. I don't want to be part of the sell-off. So
effectively, you have to run them 24/7, which means you need base load.
That is my recommendation.
You can do that with solar and wind plus battery, but if you only did it based on solar or wind overage, your hashing rig utilization would be much less. So you'd be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, like I said, my stop loss on Doge would have been
geothermal.
20 cents.
Geothermal are great as renewable means. I'm also
we're now at 19.8, which means hopefully you locked in your profit.
Modern nuclear power plants are safe, contrary to what people may think. I really think it's possible to make very, very extremely safe nuclear. I'm talking about fission. You don't need fusion.
All right, looks like people are bored, guys. Just so you know.
And then of course,
looks like sell-off will be starting unless Elon says something else.
Comes up every day.
Hey Victor, if you don't want any kind of interruptions, watch the actual live
stream. But I think
stream.
a combination of solar and wind
it's
plus
thebword.com.
Stationary storage.
If you want coverage, that's why you're here.
It's a base load, so you can run hashing 24/7.
Jack, I'm curious. You've stated that Bitcoin incentivizes renewable energy. That's what we're talking about now. Do you have any additional thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, everything that Elon said and Kathy mentioned, but
thanks for this up.
It's also incentivizing a lot of innovation in just energy space, and just like looking at unused energy. There's a company called Great American Mining that caps the methane flares on oil fields to power their rigs. And you just imagine, and you mentioned nuclear, Elon, as well, and just imagine all the unused energy that is just being wasted every single day. And
could
being
be
able
more
to
hope
get
here.
that energy and converting it into a secure, sound money system for the planet feels like a worthy trade-off. And that's the sort of incentive that I think is most powerful, is like, how do we reuse what is being currently just dumped on the ground?
They might have an argument here, guys. If Elon agrees, you might see a spike.
How do we do that at scale?
But for the most part, you can tell people are bored.
That's a bigger conversation that I think is missing. But I agree with everything that Elon has said, and also, the paper we put forth.
I'm curious if any of you have thoughts on how what the industry can do to accelerate the transition to renewable energy. And like Elon specifically, could Tesla Energy or Starlink play a role?
Well, I think Tesla can play a role. Tesla's literal reason for existence. The reason I've I've put so much of my life energy into Tesla, which is a lot. In fact, I would say that I've had some pretty tough life experiences, and Tesla is responsible for probably 2/3 of all personal and professional pain combined, just to give you a sense of perspective there. So this is a hella hard situation. But we do solar, commercial solar, solar retrofit, as well as the solar roof. And we make consumer battery packs called Powerwall for houses and small businesses. And then the utility scale, which are gigantic. We've done now a number of gigawatt hour installations. That's a lot. That's a lot. And a lot of them actually have been for load leveling the grid. Mostly they are, and combined with the first really big one we did, which is 100 megawatt installation in Australia. That's actually helped stabilize a huge portion of the South Australian grid, because it's able to react so fast. In fact, at first, because they've got a billing system in Australia that I think works at the sort of millisecond level, and we were operating at the microsecond level. So the system was operating so fast that the measuring system couldn't see it. But so Tesla's certainly doing a lot to enable renewables, especially wind and solar. And in fact, the limiting factor for us right now is cell production. So we need to both internally get the Tesla internal battery cells produced, as well as increase supply from suppliers. And generally, when I talk to our suppliers, and they say, how many cells would you like us? How many cells can you make? Because sometimes they're concerned, well, is Tesla going to compete with them on cells? I'm like, no. If you want to make the cells, be our guest. It's just that we need a crazy number of batteries, and they need to be done. It obviously needs to be mined and produced and manufactured in an ethical and environmentally sound way. So, Tesla, we really do aspire to be the good guys, to be a company that people can believe in. It doesn't mean we don't make mistakes, but that's what we try. So, but I think generally hydro, especially existing hydro, is good for mining. Geothermal, there's lots of places in the world that have geothermal energy. And like I said, nuclear is also good. I think just I'm like as I said earlier, the expectation is not that the energy production must be pure as the driven snow, but it must it can't be using. It also cannot be using the world's dirtiest coal, which it was for a moment there. That's just difficult for Tesla to support in that situation. So I think, but I do think long-term renewable energy will actually be the cheapest form of energy. It just doesn't happen overnight. But as long as there is a conscious and determined and real effort by the mining community to move towards renewables, then obviously Tesla can support that.
That's great. Kathy, we've been talking a lot about energy, but many institutions
people are really on the fence, guys. It's going to take something good to make the price go up here.
Can you maybe speak a little bit more to what is S and G?
Looks like it's running out of steam.
And
I would definitely have
those?
locked in or be locking in.
Sure. So E, of course, is
back in
environmental,
if he says something
S is social, and G is governance. And there is a massive movement,
strong recommendation,
afoot in the institutional world, especially, to embrace ESG and make sure that their asset managers are doing the same. So if we've just talked about environmental, and I really do believe
there will most likely be a dump.
Bitcoin will be much more environmentally friendly, certainly than traditional gold mining or the traditional financial services sector. In many ways, it already is, and it's just going to get better that way. In terms of social, I know that many institutions, when they are thinking of social, they think of diversity and equity, pay equity, and all of that. But if from our point of view, the disruptive innovation point of view, social is much more than that. It is saving lives, of course, autonomous technology, that would be another topic for Elon. But in this case, allowing access to payment technology, as Jack is saying, everywhere around the world without friction. And just back to the remittance example, I think if I've got these stats correctly, there are certain countries in the world that are incredibly dependent on remittances for GDP. Tonga, 37%, El Salvador, which just deemed Bitcoin legal currencies, 24%, Nepal, 24. And I think the remittance industry globally, roughly 700 billion. So saving people these
hope everybody
egregious fees, think about it, you're paying anywhere from 8% to,
what happens next?
To, as Jack said, 30% of your $100 that you're sending back to your family.
If you don't do it,
that is social responsibility, I would submit, as is just the economic empowerment that Bitcoin will enable. We've talked about that already. And I know that Alex Gladstein is going to be talking later about, the 4.3 billion people in the world who are hostage to authoritarian regimes, or the 1.3 billion
Real quick, I'll full
who
screen
are
this.
living in
She's not talking about
double-digit
anything important,
and
guys, so this is fine.
triple-digit inflation.
We are actually holding
more.
okay at the moment. I'm
Saving
surprised we
them
haven't dumped
from
already,
the
to be completely
destruction of their
honest.
purchasing power
But on the
certainly
Dogecoin side, it definitely was selling off a
noble
bit harder
social
than
goal.
Bitcoin
So
already.
we
So it's down from
expand social to be
2021
much more
to
than
about
the traditional ESP
19 and a half.
community. And then
19
on
and a third.
governance,
So
you've
slight
got
sell-off,
the
but
transparency of the ecosystem. It's completely transparent, unlike the opaqueness of financial systems and the toll takers in the traditional financial world. And I think a huge part of governance in the Bitcoin ecosystem are the Bitcoin core developers. Now, before I met them, and I've had the pleasure and the honor of meeting many of them, that was a part of this ecosystem I didn't understand. But actually getting to sit down and talk to them, if I have a learning curve need, it certainly is on the
34%?
technology side. But in terms of talking to them about economics, economic theory, failed monetary regimes historically, they know economic history, many of them, better than anyone I've ever met. So that gives me a great degree of confidence that, they do believe they are on a noble mission. They could be paid a lot more than they're being paid right now.
This really doesn't matter. Let me mute her real quick, guys, and I just want to address, I didn't mean to pause.
Or some of.
All right. Here's the thing. This is now going to start playing out, most likely, the neutral scenario that we discussed, where if the price action... if they don't announce anything great, if they don't say anything good and it's really a lot of the same, or if it's slightly negative, you will probably see the price gradually pull back to where it came from and then start to continue the crash. So now I'm a little concerned. We did hear one. Let's make sure she's not saying anything good.
More so than I think we would find in other financial ecosystems.
Okay. No, she's not. There's the one thing good that Elon said, where he said he has to do basically a little more diligence, a little more research. We could be basically he said we could be like about 50% right now and improving. So that could come like at any time. And then he said, maybe, and he's like, maybe we'll take them back. That part just killed the whole statement. And I think we might see not so great things over the next couple hours. We'll see. It's not over yet. There's still time.
Wouldn't allow it. So we've already had some
But I did sell,
good
guys.
tests
We
of
called these plays. We
Bitcoin
bought yesterday at
ecosystem,
17,
including developers.
and we sold at 20.
So
free money.
that would be my answer.
Thank you. And it's a great transition to the next topic area, which is Bitcoin ethos. And what is Bitcoin ethos? I mean, Bitcoin was born as open source, and it's very transparent. There's also a
Awesome,
staunch
guys. Glad to hear
defense
it.
from the community around decentralization and a lot of the core principles of Bitcoin. So let's talk a little bit about that and what makes it special.
Dogecoin
Jack,
about to make new lows.
Square has
Not
done
good.
a lot to support open source Bitcoin. Can you tell us a little bit about what Square has done and what advice you'd have for other institutions looking to follow in its footsteps?
Not
Yeah,
great.
I mean, I was very skeptical of corporations when I was a kid, and I'm
Yes,
still
sir.
skeptical of corporations today. And as we've used corporations to be, they've been great vessels for what we need to do and the ideas that we need to bring to the world. But Bitcoin is not that. And when we were considering Bitcoin and how Square intersected, I was really concerned with how we don't disrupt the community in a negative way, how we promote what is amazing about it, and how we help it grow in that way.
Bitcoin's still hanging on there, guys. It's not too bad yet, but if you're a Dogecoin trader, Doge is doing worse.
Hiring open source developers to work on whatever they want and whatever they think is most important to help Bitcoin. We created an organization called Copo, which we gave up all of our crypto patents so that the community can use them in defense against trolls and some crazy characters we won't name. And we continue to find ways that, following that Bitcoin path, we're going to create a hardware wallet. We're probably going to do a lot more in hardware. Everything that we do in the space is going to be completely open source, from the hardware design to the software, taking in the community's push. And we're building a developer platform as well in the same open development, open source, and completely transparent. So I think as institutions or companies like ours consider getting in the space, I think contribution back to the community is important. Tesla did this with accepting payments for Tesla and finding security holes and improving the stack. And as I said before, we can't just see this as an asset that we own and an investment vehicle. This is something that has the potential to change everything and make the lives of everyone on this planet better in some small, maybe marginal way, but those margins will be meaningful as they compound over time.
Great. Elon, you've tweeted before that any wallet that doesn't give the user their private key should be avoided at all costs. Can you tell us more about why is that important, and how does what's its relationship with decentralization?
Well, it's difficult to say that if you own crypto in an exchange and the exchange does not give you your private keys, it's not clear that you own anything. I mean, if there's something that if that exchange breaks or is hacked, or
Bitcoin's sitting up to potentially fall here,
or is subject to seizure by the government or something like that, your crypto is gone. So in order to actually have a properly decentralized finance, which I'm a fan of, I think it makes sense. Then you have to own your private keys, and you should be the only one who has your private keys. So if you're the only one who has the private keys, then you own it. If someone else has your private keys, effectively they own it too, and the security of your crypto is then dependent upon them or any entity that can affect them. So I think what Jack's doing sounds like a good idea, to have a hardware wallet that's the only thing that contains your private keys. I think that's like in terms of sort of empowering the people, which I very much believe in. Then I think you want to have people have their own wallets and be the only ones that have the private keys to that wallet, so-called wallet, the other side of the crypto.
Right. I agree, and I think we'll see an emergence too of new solutions that use multi-sig, like with 2 or 3 keys, where the user has 2 keys, and then you get assisted custody by having an institution hold a 3rd key. Can be a good solution as well.
Yeah,
Bitcoin's really testing.
Well, you can just put your private key in something that has dual access or voting access as an application on an existing network.
Right. So the Bitcoin community is known for staunchly defending Bitcoin's principles. Sometimes it can be rude and aggressive, but I think what what it stems from is just a desire to not have wealthy or powerful people or institutions negatively impacting Bitcoin or sort of changing the rules in favor
32,
of
almost
them.
32 flat on Bitcoin.
I'm curious to hear from each of you what role you feel like you and your own institutions, your own companies, what role can you play in Bitcoin?
Doge clear sell-off.
How do you positively impact it without having these negative drawbacks? Kathy, maybe start with you.
Sure. Yes. Well, ARC has stood for two things: democratization and transparency. Democratization. We're the closest you'll find to a venture capital fund in the public equity markets, and I kind of feel that. Bitcoin, or we have Bitcoin's DNA from that point of view. One of the things in terms of democratization is education. We have one of our missions, values, is to educate, and I do believe that that some of Yacine El-Mandra's white papers, Yacine's our lead crypto analyst, who's worked very closely with you, Steve, on this conference, are helping the cause. We've done, and not only for retail investors, we found that we had to do a bit more when it came to institutional investors, just because of the way that they invest and the way they like to receive information. So just like in our investments, we've been, the retail community has been more attracted to us first, and now the institutional community is coming along. So I do think our transparency of research, especially in the social world, social media, pushing our research out for free to anyone, is part of our way of helping the community. And I do think encouraging, and this is something that Jack just said,
they're literally killing the price by talking about nothing.
I would encourage the support of the Bitcoin core developer community. As I said before, it's amazing to me, having gotten to know some of them, how strong their sense of purpose is here. And so we'd like to be helpful in making that happen as well.
That's great. Jack, how about you? How do you view your own personal role and the companies you run?
I think my own personal role through the companies I run is to really push for more decentralization, like at everything that we intend to do with the wallet, being non-custodial.
Just so you know, I think we're about to wrap up here, guys.
Focusing on non-custodial solutions.
Elon's going to be the next one to go,
on the Square
unless
side
he says something good here.
Being completely open development and open source. But I also think it's important on the Twitter side as well. My biggest focus right now is on a decentralized social media protocol. We're calling it Blue Sky. It's super, super early, but we've learned a lot from what makes Bitcoin Bitcoin and why that's important. I've learned a lot in that sense as well. And I think, just continuing to push on that thread and show it with our actions every single day in support of this community that's taught me so much and I think will benefit so many people. That's what I'm focused on.
What about letting Twitter advertisers pay in crypto?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean,
should have set the edit button.
I think enabling anyone. I mean, as you know, Elon, like if we had Bitcoin or native currency for the internet before Twitter started, like it just creates so many different business models that we wouldn't have to be so dependent upon advertising generally. And sure. I do believe that that we have them, any form of payment that they want to use, we should be able to take. So okay. Absolutely, but I'm more focused on like how do we create economic incentives in the network itself without having to rely on advertising.
Yeah, it's just that the money has to come off of the crypto so-called coins, the hash strings have to come off and get translated into real products and services. So the more sort of off ramps there are to real products and services, even at the institutional level, although I mean there are certainly many small advertisers on Twitter. It seems like accepting Bitcoin, maybe some other cryptos for advertising payments on Twitter would be supportive of Bitcoin.
100%, and also looking at just general commerce through Twitter itself.
That was great. Sorry, what, Elon?
I was asking Jack if he's going to do it.
Oh. Can we get a product announcement today? Elon, how about you? You obviously you're a big personality on Twitter.
The drop stalled out.
What are your thoughts on your role and your company's role in Bitcoin and sort of preserving the ethos?
Bitcoin's holding.
Yeah, I mean, I generally think we should do things that benefit the people as a whole and increase the probability that the future is good. So, I think to me, it just seems self-evident that we should kind of take these set of actions most likely to make the future good. And I think probably crypto or some of the cryptocurrencies will make the future better, most likely. It's not, I always think of these things in terms of probabilities, but I think it's probably better for there to be a prosperous Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, maybe some others in the future. And I think it can have an empowering effect for individuals and increase the power of the individual relative to government. And really, if you think of government is just a corporation in the limit. So sometimes some people are like against corporations, but for government. It's like, guys, government is just a corporation in the limit. It's the biggest corporation of all, and it's got a monopoly on violence. So if you don't like corporations, you should really hate government.
Why did you go there?
All right, we got about we'll try to wrap up in 10 minutes. So let's move on to future of Bitcoin. So Tesla and Square have both put Bitcoin on the balance sheet. Kathy, I'm curious to hear from you. What advice would you have for other institutions looking to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet?
Well, I guess the first piece of advice is, just make sure, and I actually learned this after both Square and Tesla put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. The Bitcoin is being treated as an intangible asset. And so we need to get FASB to reconsider this, because with an intangible asset, if the asset goes up in price,
to the conclusion here.
It can't be marked up on their books. But if it goes down, it must be marked down. So, there's some asymmetry there, which is, we need to change that given what we believe Bitcoin is. And I do believe if I'll harken back to something, well, it was either Elon or Jack said, think about it, you take away the boundaries, the different currencies, just think about how explosive growth could be and how wide reaching taking the friction out of the system could be. So I would encourage corporations to think about that this ability to do business anywhere in the world. Ultimately, obviously, we're paving the way here. That's certainly a consideration. It also will serve as a hedge against inflation, especially, and as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of emerging markets that are suffering from significant inflation. In other words,
Bitcoin
the purchasing power
actually,
of those populations
it bounced off 31.75
is going down. So they are going
and
to
it's
migrate
heading back to 32,000. So it's not
Bitcoin
dumping quite yet.
And other ways to preserve purchasing power. And again, being able to sell to them in that kind of currency would be very useful. I'd also suggest, once again, this idea of deflation, I think, is going to be a real thing. There's going to be good deflation caused by innovation, so demand will boom because of that. There's
Bitcoin's
going to be bad
literally
deflation
trading like this.
Because
got
so
very
many
neutral news
with
some good and some bad, and people are trying to decide whether to buy or sell. We're sitting right at 32,000 right here, undecided.
And they're going
Could
to be
go in either
stuck trying to
direction, guys.
service the debt that they piled
with
on
a tendency towards
because
the downward
their
direction.
shareholders wanted profits and wanted them now. So they leveraged up to buy back their shares and pay dividends, and so I think that's going to be the source of bad deflation and counterparty risk. And we learned from 0809 that counterparty risk can be devastating, almost cataclysmic. So a hedge against that as well, I think, would be another reason to do it.
Great.
Yeah, it's funny. It kind of like Tesla's bank balances in Europe have negative interest rate. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, if you've got like 2% inflation on 1% interest, you're technically minus 1% return. But nonetheless, it is quite annoying to just see your bank balance drop in real time in Europe. Europe has negative interest rates. This is insane.
Yeah. Paying the banks, paying the banks to hold
the bank to keep your money. I'm like, what?
It is crazy.
Like, what? We definitely move that into Bitcoin.
I believe Ray Dalio said, "Buy Bitcoin and not bonds." So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Jack, you've talked about design being an underfunded area in Bitcoin.
Very slight bounce, guys.
Elon earlier mentioned, usability could improve a lot. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that. What do you see as the future of how can design impact Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Bitcoin network is beautifully designed as a protocol in the way it works. I mean, it went after a single problem, and it does in an absolutely astounding way. But I think the endpoints of people getting into it is still a little bit confusing. So I think the more energy we spend on wallets and making sure that the wallets are simple and accessible and they're non-custodial as well. Yeah. I think the best example of this that I know of is probably this wallet called Moon. And it's just simple, straightforward. It's a great, it does an amazing thing with key management that my mom and friends new to Bitcoin can understand. Does amazing in storage, and it also has a very clever implementation of Lightning so that you can use it in a transactional way without having to think about it, just with QR codes in a way that makes sense. So more work like that, I think, really brings us forward.
Great. Let's wrap things up with a final question for each of you. I guess what is your hope for Bitcoin? How it can impact the world? Let's see, Elon, do you want to start with that? So what's your hope? What's your hope for Bitcoin?
Well, my hope for I guess crypto in general is that it can improve the efficiency of the information system that we call money. So if the core efficiency of money is improved and and money has less error, where, like I said, error is like any kind of government interference or fraud or anything like that, this will naturally lead to basically a better standard of living and more power to the individual, which I very much agree with.
Great. Kathy?
Yeah, and I would segue from what Elon just said is, money has powerful network effect qualities. And so, we talked about ESG earlier. I think that, of course, that aspiration, having, this money be the best from an ESG point of view, that's really talking about solving some of the world's problems right now, which we definitely want to do. But I also am very excited about this idea of network effect and
Bitcoin,
the convergence of blockchain technology and artificial intelligence from a technology point of view.
So this could
I
just
think, think about the internet in the earliest days. We couldn't imagine what was going to happen, but the impetus to growth was pretty incredible. So I am looking at this rules-based monetary policy, making for better lives around the world, as we've just said. But I'm also looking at the technology itself and the convergence between blockchain technology and artificial intelligence to change the world in ways that we cannot imagine right now, solving even more problems, but creating more opportunities as well, which is the history of technology and disruptive innovation.
Jack, what's your hope for Bitcoin?
My hope is that it creates world peace, or helps create world peace. I mean, Elon said it earlier, like we have all these monopolies of violence, and the individual doesn't have power. And the amount of cost and distraction that comes from our monetary system today is real, and it takes away attention from the bigger problems. Some of the bigger problems that Elon is trying to solve, like get us to a multi-planetary humanity. All these distractions that we have to deal with on a daily basis take away from those bigger goals that affect every single person on this planet, increasingly so. So it may sound a little bit ridiculous, but like you fix that foundational level and everything above it improves in such a dramatic way. So it's going to be long term, but my hope is definitely peace.
That's fantastic. Well, I'd like to thank all three of you for giving us your time today. It's been fantastic. So now's the moment.
We need to
thank you to the audience
before we close
for
stream,
tuning in.
Start taking a quick look at the chart, see how the Bitcoin price reacts.
Discussion,
oh,
but we
it's
have
selling.
a lineup of incredible speakers and content. So I encourage everyone to check it out. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks.
Thank you all.
There it goes. Price dumping. Here comes the sell-off. Holy cow. Here it goes. Kind of funny, guys. That's the sell-off of disappointment. Can you hear it in the air? Yeah, I think you guys can hear it. I can hear it too. That is the sell-off of disappointed people. So let's see how far the sell-off goes. Let's literally just give it. Oh, can we turn that music off? Well, first of all, thank you guys all for hanging out. If you enjoyed this kind of coverage, we talk about Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Ethereum, everything. Cover the price action every single day, for the most part, live 7 days a week. And if not, you'll hear from me on social media if I happen to miss a day for some reason. But anytime something's happening, we are live. So if you want to stay tuned for that content, of course, click subscribe. But right now, what we need to do is keep an eye on the Bitcoin price action kind of post-event, and let's just see what's going to happen here. Now, let's take a quick moment to just talk about what the three assumptions were here. This was what we expected to happen. Pre-event run-up, a sell-off of a bit, and then more hype coming in as the event starts, as people are excited and they don't want to sell yet in anticipation of what could be announced. If during that event things were looking good, you might see the price continue to go up. And if Elon made a really good announcement, groundbreaking, game-changing, something we haven't heard yet, the price going up towards 34, 35, 40, and maybe beyond, sparking a full-on reversal. But if he said anything that was either neutral, like nothing new, or underwhelming or disappointing, then you start seeing the price accordingly start to sell off and going back down, and potentially a continuation of the crash. Now, keep in mind, the reason I'm saying that is because just now we came from 29,000 and we barely avoided making another lower low and potentially crashing towards mid 20,000s on Bitcoin. We averted that crash because of this event. This event brought in this hype. This event kind of sucked. So in the same way that people were like, oh, that SNL event kind of sucked, and they started selling off the hype, they're like, oh, that didn't quite do it. We could be seeing that on Bitcoin here. We could see the price, and I'm not saying that the price is going to go to 20,000 now. All I'm saying is we could see the price return to where it came from, and that's a problem because at this point, we were on the verge of crashing. So if we go back to the verge of crashing, we're probably going to crash. That's all I'm saying here. And so what I just want to do is go ahead, guys, now that the stream's over. If I missed your question, just please re-ask. That way I know you're actually here and I don't just answer people's questions from an hour ago and they're gone. So if you want to ask me anything that I have not already addressed to you, please ask now, and I'll start reading the comments from here down. Now, the nice thing I will say is that Bitcoin isn't completely just hard dumping, like a complete new sell-off. We can contribute part of that to the fact that we didn't get a massive run-up. So the buy the rumor, sell the news thing, usually expect pump, dump. But we didn't get that much of a pump. We only went up $2,000 on Bitcoin, which is really not that much. When you consider percentage, what is that, about 8? Right? 10% would have been 3,000. So there's only like an 8% down move max to get back to where we came from. So it's not like we're going to see a massive just straight sell off down to 24,000 or something. We'll probably go back to 30 or 29 where we came from. But I will say one of the decent things about this event was we did hear Elon say it was a mixed bag with what Elon said. So on the good side, he said he needs to basically do some more due diligence because Bitcoin could be right at about that 50% mark, which is what he said. You know, once they hit that, they would take it back as payment. That was good. That's why we saw the price tend to like start trending up. And then he just kind of kept indicating that he thinks it's going to be like another cryptocurrency that isn't quite as fundamentally poor that kind of takes over as the transaction currency. So really threw us a mixed bag. And I think people are trying to decide, like, was that a good event or a bad one? And we keep seeing the price like yin-yanging here, back and forth. Like people are selling and like, oh, wait, maybe it won't sell off, or maybe it will, or maybe that was good news, or maybe it wasn't. So this chart might be a little wild. Now, overall, I think if you just take what he said and analyze, was it good or bad? I think it was good, but I just don't know if people will take it that way. I don't know if it was good enough to spark a bull run, but I think it was good, and that's why we're not seeing the price just completely dump off here. But we'll see. We'll see. We hit here. Now we just bounced off the 200 EMA. These are expected bounce zones. And so we're just going to have to kind of see what happens next. But thank you all 300 of you for hanging out. Don't forget, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter if you want updates also between streams because I go live, like I said, once a day. But in between there, I'm on Twitter talking about Doge and sharing important information when I'm not live. All right, some of your comments here. Let's see. Let's start from Michael. Great coverage first time here. Thanks. I appreciate that. And yeah, thank you, Danny. Appreciate that as well. Absolutely. Let's see. The Doge Bitcoin dip was fun, but it's getting kind of old. I want everything to go back to normal already. Yeah, I think we all do. I mean, buying the dip is fun, but we do want the price then to go up at least sometime soon. And we could see Bitcoin. I could tell this is going to take a little bit, guys. So I'm going to read your comments and we'll come back once something happens. All right. I literally fell asleep listening with my headphones. That was so boring. Yeah, Kathy and Jack kind of put us to sleep. Elon had the most important stuff to say. My problem with the event was they didn't ask Elon directly enough good questions. They should have questioned him about his opinion on the Bitcoin. If Bitcoin people are getting a glimmer of hope here because what he said wasn't too negative, we could still see a run up. But I'm just saying it was a little on the neutral side, so I feel like it's going to sell off. So, but we'll keep an eye on it. But my problem was they didn't ask Elon good enough questions. The whole thing about the argument that the energy being produced is unused, and that's the energy that Bitcoin's using, they didn't even ask Elon for his opinion on that. And that, in my opinion, they kind of failed this event. There were so many opportunities to get Elon to say something positive about Bitcoin, and they just didn't ask, like, Elon, what's your opinion on that? And he didn't take it upon himself to just barge in and answer. So really kind of like a fail of an event, in my opinion. But we'll see how the price reacts. We're getting some strong momentum off this 31.5 line. So maybe people found enough hope in that, just knowing how he was feeling, to continue a bit of a move up. I don't know. But I'm not seeing that angle. I think down is probably the overall move here, even if we get a little bounce. But we'll see. I know I'm not going to go long right here, though, yet. Not me personally. But if you do, by all means. Let's see. Can someone tell me the name of the sound that was played before and after? I don't know what song that was. Thanks for the good coverage. Oh, yeah, I read that one. Coworker just woke you up. So many people got wrecked just now. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely, Lori. Appreciate that. Yeah, Martin, we're just covering the intraday price action. This isn't really... I mean, if you're hodling, you don't care about the price anyway, right? So it's like whatever happens, happens. You're going to see us at the end when you sell at $1 or beyond. But this is more for those that are more concerned about what happens from between now and then each day. That's what these streams are each day. Elon isn't the best at speaking. Yeah, I like listening to him, though. He's relatable, in my opinion. Feels more real. What's my opinion on Doge to the moon or just balancing? I think Doge will get to, in my opinion, towards $1 towards the end of the year. With Elon's backing, Doge for Tesla could be massive in the same way that Okay, guys, well, we're seeing some bullish activity here. A little shocking. Maybe it was a bear trap. Altcoins, yes. I swear, if Elon tweets something now, today was great, 100% profit, sweet. I actually got about that as well because I traded options. I thought we would dump harder. To be honest, this event helped stabilize crypto. It very well may have. I'm going on my lunch break. Thanks for the stream. Absolutely chosen. This event and the price don't have to go hand in hand for the event to be good. I thought it was good news overall long term, which is what it's all about. Yeah, it was definitely good news long term. I just don't know what's the disappointment rate going to be here. And it looks like people are okay with what they're hearing because they're starting, even though the people that panicked sold off, the price is holding. So maybe overall the sentiment was positive because people are thinking slightly longer term, and that would make more sense with big money. So we could still see a bit of a move up, but there wasn't any groundbreaking information except for Elon kind of backing, making sure everybody knew he was behind the Bitcoin movement. He's holding a large portion. It's his largest financial holding other than his share in his companies. And so basically what he said was it would be counterintuitive for him to dump Bitcoin and want to see it fail because his financial livelihood partially is now resting on the fact that Bitcoin recovers. So he is behind it. And then he also said, just like he's behind Ethereum and Dogecoin. So it was a mixed bag. But the question is, and I don't think people even know yet, which side's going to win. Was it good enough or was it not? And as you can see, the price is chilling here at 32,000, right below resistance as people try to figure that out. Let's see. You bought at 39 cents. Yeah, I've got some at 60. So I'm hodling on one of my accounts, but where do I see the price of Doge tomorrow? It depends on which way Bitcoin goes. And so I really can't answer that because I don't know which way Bitcoin's about to go. People are 100% undecided right now. We're at this moment where people are like, maybe up, maybe down. Do I short? Do I go long? Well, I could probably answer that in like a half an hour once the price action starts deciding direction. Let's see. Can I scalp out altcoins? Yeah, you can. Absolutely. I scalp Doge sometimes. As always, you lost money. What happened? How'd you lose? Did you buy at 17 yesterday? That's what most of us did here. Yeah, Preezy, maybe. I'd say that was intentional. They want the price lower. You never know. Market manipulation comes in weird forms. But I don't know if that was really the case. Yeah, Elon's response to Doge benefits was actually really poor, and that's a little concerning. So I don't really like that, but as long as he follows through, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I didn't like that by him at all. He could have touched on lower transaction fees. He could have touched on overall lower, faster speeds, but he just talked about fate loves irony, and that was his argument for Doge. So, and memes. A little bit of a childish answer, which is fine, but then he didn't come back. Let's see. It's funny, I'm looking at his Twitter now, waiting for a tweet. I'm selling. I anticipate a drop in the hours to come. Yeah, and people are buying this bounce here, but I don't know long-term why this is really... we'll see. We'll see. The whales don't care about this event. They have a plan. They're sticking to it. 32K is the line in the sand. It sure is. It's always been a strong level, too, so we're just kind of playing this out. Sell and rebuy at the bottom. I've already sold, and I'm looking... Here's the thing. Hopefully, everybody that was looking to trade this move, if you're a hodler... obviously you don't care, right? You were just here for the fun times and you're not buying. You're not selling. If anything, you're just adding more, like the Dogecoin billionaire, right? I'm not selling. That's your motto. So you don't particularly care about the movements, but anytime there's a dip, you're like, cool, I'm going to buy more. But if you're a trader, you want to know what's going to happen next so that you can prepare. So is there going to be a moment where you can buy more down low, or is the price just going to go up and you have to find an entry at the next bounce, at the next pullback? That's why these streams every single day are done. Yesterday, we made it very clear to pretty much all in, or at least go in 50% at 17 cents while we were streaming, because it was just very obvious that this move up was going to happen today. It's just inevitable. Anytime there's a hype event coming up, people start to anticipate. They start buying into the rumor, buying into the hype, and assuming that maybe the price will go to the moon. It happens in the stock market. It happens in the crypto market. It just happens. So having the price at these all-time lows while people aren't factoring in the hype yet, once we stabilized, it just made sense, especially being just the night before, 12 hours before the event, to start buying, probably wake up to some activity overnight, especially as the Asia side of the world, the Asia market starts doing their trading overnight, and then wake up to being a couple cents up, and then a run up to the event, and then the normal here comes the event activities. People start taking profit, then people actually get excited and hold, maybe some good news, price starts to go up, and then you decide, is it just going to be a news sell, dump off, or is it going to be a run up if there is actually good news? And then a sell off. And that's exactly how it played out. So I got about 100% off my investment off that move because I traded options and leveraged. A little risky, but whatever. If this holds here, I mean, you see a little bit of an inverse happening here, inverse head and shoulders. Hey, appreciate that, Brandon. Thank you. You just realized you weren't subscribed? No, I appreciate your support. Thank you to everybody that subscribed. I think we got like 100 subscribers just now, so I really appreciate all of you. Obviously, during the event, I couldn't read all your names because I was trying to only talk during free moments and not talk over the actual information. But I usually read all the names out as they come in. Thank you all so much for your support. It means a lot. And if you like this content, of course, if you haven't subscribed already, consider clicking that button. Only takes a second. And this is the type of stream we do every single day. So if you like it, come back for more, basically. All right. Let's see where this thing stops. Is this inverse head and shoulders, or will there not be enough people to buy this here? Looks like it's already right. Here's the line. We're hanging out there. Next candle. Let's wait till that 1 minute candle closes. Nope. As you saw the traders start buying in anticipation there and holding the price, and then it didn't bounce, and everyone's just like, psych, sold. That was kind of funny. We'll see. This candle isn't closed yet, right? So you got to wait till it closes. Could be a double fake out. Faked out going up, faked out going down, and then it closes green, and it is an inverse. We'll see. But that shouldn't have happened. They're still trying to hold the price up, though. Let's see. Brandon, he will get to you. Yeah, I'll address that in a moment because that's going to take some technical analysis to get the answer to that question, Brandon. So we'll do that just a sec. Great commentary. Thank you. Content and commentary. I appreciate that. Yep, she still got that mod wrench. Welcome all new subs. Hey, thank you, Preezy. I appreciate you helping me out. Your name's Mohammed. Thank you, Mohammed. I'll remember that next time I see your name. Buy Doge 18. What was that? You want to buy Doge at 18 or you bought Doge at 18? What time do I usually stream? It depends. I try to stream at like 4, like right after market close, like 4 p.m. Eastern time. I get off work at 5 though. So if my work day is normal, like normally busy, it's going to be closer to like 5 p.m. Eastern. If it's not, I can do like a very right after market close stream at like 4. Or if things are slow, I'll usually do an evening stream if there's nothing to talk about yet, hoping we get some more price action later in the day. But I'm always on Twitter giving updates about when that stream will be, but usually it's about 5 p.m. Eastern time every day. 5 to 6. Let's just say that to be safe is when it starts. But I do schedule it in advance as well, so you'd get that notification and be able to hop in. Oh, sorry guys, my cam is up looking at the moon. All right, there we go. By the way, the matte black Dogecoin shirt. There's new stuff in the pipeline, guys. myhodlwear.com. There's a couple shirts up right now. And yeah. Coupon code free ship for free shipping in the US. Won't find that anywhere else. Anyway, back to comments. You're out, Schmicky. Appreciate you hanging out. Wilco, it's random, usually 6 p.m. Yeah, usually I try for 6 or sooner. I try for 5, but sometimes it's closer to 6, depending on work. Eastern time. You bought at 18 cents. Well, I mean, selling at 20 was definitely the move. If you didn't sell at 20, you're in a bit of a situation here because Bitcoin's starting to trend down, and it looks like Doge right now is about 1879. Now, At this point, you're at a support level on Doge. So it would make more sense to see what happens here before you just sell. Hope for a bounce where you can sell a little bit higher. If it doesn't bounce, you get confirmation it's going to go down. Maybe you just break even and you just, no profit, no loss. Just sell it where you bought it at if it looks like it's going to go down. It's unfortunate, but the move has already ended. The run-up has already ended. So unless there's going to be another run-up here, that means at the best, just cut and don't lose any money and wait for the next move. You bought at 40? Yeah, I've bought at 40 too. I bought at 50. I bought at 60. But I decided I'm going to hold on those accounts. I know Doge will get back up there soon enough, but on my other accounts, I'm going to kind of scalp and make a little profit on the volatility, and that's what we've been doing every day. All right, yeah, this is not looking great, but we do have a support line right here. Looks like we're trying to do another bounce, and we'll see how that holds. Let's delete this. Actually, it might do that, so let's not. First time here, great commentary. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You followed me. Thank you so much. And you followed the sell-off and made profit. Awesome. 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 That's the goal, guys. My main purpose of going live. Obviously, I don't make money from streaming. A lot of times I don't even have ads running. And when they are running, I don't make but probably like $1 per stream, right? There's no money to be made here. Not at this moment. Maybe eventually, but not yet. The whole reason I stream is to help other people make money. So if that's what you're into, if you like Dogecoin, because that's usually what I'm talking about, but I talk about other cryptos as well and stocks. So if you like trading or you want to learn how to trade and you like Dogecoin as well, because that's a lot of time what I'm talking about, and you want to make money and trade profitably, hang out. We do a lot of analysis, and I don't know, how often are we wrong, guys? I don't know when the last time we were significantly wrong was, to be honest. And that's the goal of being a good trader. I'm not saying I'm always right, but I'm just saying we do so much analysis that we're usually, if we're not spot on, we're close. And that's enough to be profitable. You think Doge is not coming back? Oh yeah, no problem, man. Don't worry about your English. Dogecoin today, I don't know. But it's up to Bitcoin here. Bitcoin is very undecided. We could see a crash and maybe not. That's why I would just wait to see what happens here. If you just bought in at 18 and the price is literally at 18, there's no reason to panic sell unless the price comes down to you. At least just see what happens with the price action here. Let it play itself out and see if it's going to continue up, which is a possibility, or if it is going to indeed sell off. And if it looks like it's going to sell off, just sell at break even, right? You don't have to lose any money. You don't have to make any money. You unfortunately missed the original sell off. So at this point, you might as well just, since you're in already, just wait and see what happens. Or you could sell right here at about $1 profit if you want, because I think we're at about $18.90 right now on Doge. Or just wait it out and be patient and see what happens. There's no promise that Bitcoin will not bounce back up here. We're just saying it may seem a little unlikely, but we'll see what happens. And if it is looking like we're gonna do a reversal here to the top side, which would be a little surprising, we'll look for an entry and then we'll look for a sell. That is the way you do it. She's me. Y'all are funny. Diamond hands, people don't sell. Hey, this isn't really one of those communities. If you want to sell, you can sell. If you don't want to sell, don't sell. Overall, people are still selling. So unless everyone kind of in the market decides not to sell, our decision not to sell isn't really going to do too much. Or our decision to sell. We're just kind of following the trends. Where we find our buys is where other people are buying. Where we find our sells is where other people are already selling. We're not changing anything. We're just riding the wave. What's my average buy, if I don't mind me asking? So on my holding accounts, my average is like 50 cents on one and like 60 on another. But for scalping, I'm not in yet. If you mean like share size, usually I'm trading with like, I don't keep all my money in my trading accounts anymore because there are bills, right? I got to pay myself sometimes. But usually I'm trading with like 20,000 Dogecoin. Or like 20 to 30,000. Depends. It's not always a whole lot, but it's enough to make profit. But the thing is, you guys know I don't execute trades super frequently anyway because I'm usually calling out the moves for you guys. So unless it's after the stream ends, I'm usually too busy. So that's why I don't worry about it too much. It's more about this channel being successful by helping you guys catch the moves than me catching them myself. So eventually, if I do it enough and enough people enjoy it, I'll make money by being live, and that will be the payoff. So that's just kind of the goal. I'm in at 28 cents. That's not bad. You're under 30, so that's pretty decent. You're gonna hodl lower cap coins trading Doge? Yeah. Something like okay, it looks like we are going down, by the way. Something like Flex, Amp coin, anything like that, like good, fundamentally good coins that are low market cap are probably good investments. Doge is a little bit of a longer term play, so probably like 2 months. What's the next meeting coming up? July 28th? Yeah, so on July 28th, guys, come back for sure. There's going to be another event, and I actually forgot about that, right? But there's going to be another event that we're going to live cover as long as they're live streaming it. And it's going to be something that is more important for Dogecoin than anything else. This has nothing to do with Bitcoin. This is important for Dogecoin and Ethereum. Basically, what's happening, some of the Doge devs and Vitalik Buterin, who is the founder and current CEO of Ethereum, they're going to be discussing some kind of bridge. So a Dogecoin to Ethereum merge or bridge, you could say. Basically allowing Dogecoin to run on the Ethereum network, where Dogecoin could then kind of be upgraded and take advantage of a lot of the perks that are on Ethereum. That could be also getting included in trading availability on the decentralized exchanges, the DEXs that typically, the swaps like Uniswap, ShibaSwap, all that, those exchanges that run on the Ethereum network and let you trade Ethereum network coins and more. And then also low transaction fees, transaction speeds, and all of that stuff. So obviously right now, though, there are some problems with speeds and fees with Ethereum because of all the network congestion. But if that update for Dogecoin or that merger can come somewhere near ETH2, that would be really ideal. And that could be huge. And that could, either way, the discussion will probably be a catalyst where we'll see some bullish momentum. So we could see the price go up a bit. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. That's July 28th. So make sure you subscribe so that you can be here for that live coverage. All right. Y'all are funny. Appreciate you guys. What a great community. Thank you all, even all the new faces in here. When it comes to Dogecoin, here's the thing. To analyze what Dogecoin is going to do, what is Bitcoin going to do that's going to bring Dogecoin to that particular price? If Bitcoin does not hold here, it is most likely going to start trending back down. And I think it could entertain the possibility, if it completely sells off, going back to 29,000 and potentially still looking at that next crash. If people are really still feeling bearish. In that case, Dogecoin could go back to lower teens. Right now, it's still at 18 cents and Bitcoin's at 31,000. By the time Bitcoin gets back down to 29,000, Dogecoin's probably going to be at like 16 cents flat again. If Bitcoin decides to crash, we now see Dogecoin to low teens. The other little scenario here is Bitcoin does not crash somehow and it holds, starts trading up at 33, 34,000. I don't think it goes much further than that because there wasn't good enough news for the price to make a run up here. So it either goes down and potentially crashes or barely goes up and then bounces, and we'll be back tomorrow by the time that happens to talk about what's going to happen next. So it's either Dogecoin go to like 16 or Dogecoin maybe go up to like 20 again, maybe 21. But that scenario to me is unlikely. I think we see Doge starting to sell off, at least starting within the next hour. All right, give this some time for people to decide to sell, basically. The event just ended. It didn't dump. People are still a little hopeful. They will get bored and switch their money to other cryptos if they are not primarily Bitcoin traders. So I think this little triangle here may fail, and then we'll start heading towards 17 cents, maybe even 16 cents Dogecoin by the time we're back tomorrow. So anyway, that's the prediction. We'll see if I'm right. Follow me on Twitter if you haven't already. Obviously, click subscribe if you haven't already. And feel free to check out my store. Link in the description. If you want something, promo code FREESHIP for free shipping. All right, guys. Thank you all for hanging out. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow.